Why don't you start at the beginning? How did you become a kinesiologist, Sherry?
Well, I got involved with kinesiology because of Michelle Greenwell. And I was teaching therapeutic touch. And when Michelle showed me her skills, I became very, very interested and began taking her courses. And so I went back and forth. I taught Michelle, Michelle taught me, and then I think Tanya was probably in the same place as that. So that's why we became involved. I do not call myself a kinesiologist, as in I don't feel as though I'm expert enough, but I use it all the time. I use it with people that I work with and talk to, and they say, "Oh, and I go, "Oh, well, let's try this together." And so I don't do it professionally, but I certainly do appreciate all the knowledge that has come with it,
Oh,
with
thank
learning
you.
it.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. And how about you, Tanya?
Well, here's the thing. Michelle Greenwell, about 6 years ago, taught a Touch for Health class for self-care. And I walked into the class and my life was never the same. And I had lived in Ontario for about, I don't know, 10 years and then came back to Nova Scotia. And I had always wanted to do therapeutic touch and was always interested in related modalities like Touch for Health. And what I think of as bioenergetic wellness is probably what you think of as kinesiology, as a counselor for many years myself. And Michelle said, "Oh, you should keep coming to Tai Chi class after Touch for Health, and oh, you should come to the Touch for Health class, and oh, you should come to the Therapeutic Touch class." So I went to the Therapeutic Touch class with Cherry, and she said level 1 was about level 300 that weekend. So I think we Michelle and I wowed Cherry just a little, because I think when you're attracted to the field, even though you may never have had any formal training, you have a sense of energy, you have an understanding and of how it shows up in the field and how it shows up in the body and how to work with and clear those patterns, right, and support healing. And so I think for me it's just another part of the healing work I do.
Okay. So now tell me about healing the earth. Lead me into, give us a taster of what you're going to present on.
Over to you, Cherry.
Well, I think that what I'm going to do is give you a little bit of background first in terms of the therapeutic touch and in terms of touch for health, and how the two of them became a really integrated practice. So every time I do touch for health for someone, I start by centering myself and grounding myself into the earth. And then I start by centering them and grounding them too. I find that it speeds up the connection between, I call it healing partner, but the client and myself. And it creates an opening in the energy field for the kinesiology to work better. Whatever techniques or whatever, if I'm doing a full session or not, it just seems to flow better because I'm grounded, I'm centered, I'm calmer, and that spreads to the other person. And they naturally fall into that. And so that's where the beginning of healing with grounding and using the earth energies came from. And then the more I realized that we were grounding, I thought there's crystalline structure within the earth. And why are we not grounding to it? And why are we not exchanging energy with it because of our bodies and the crystalline structure in it? And then I read more and more and have begun to expand that grounding, which expands and deepens the centering into the resonance of the earth as well. So it just became this pattern that led itself into this to really help with the centering and the grounding, the entry point into the treatment process.
That was
Is
fantastic.
that enough information?
Yeah.
Or do you need more, Molly?
So when you say you tuned into the fact the earth has a crystalline structure and so do we, with your process, do you help people connect and draw up earth energies? And maybe talk about that a little bit.
Do you want to take that one, Tanya?
Absolutely.
Molly, I didn't hear
Absolutely.
exactly what you said.
Absolutely, Molly. I find that one of the most valuable exercises I've done with students when I support them in counseling and in healing work is what I call the grounding cord exercise, where they connect with Mother Earth and a grounding cord comes up and holds them, and that they can take all that's stressing them into Mother Earth. And I remind them that Mother Earth recycles everything. She recycles all the basically waste product and stress that we provide her into seas and trees and oceans and flowers. And when students start to, when clients, healing partners, students start to connect with that, all of a sudden they realize they have a place for that stress to go, and they have a place to connect to that's really endless, right? Because Mother Earth is always in the process of giving energy to us, and we only need to receive. And I think once I teach them how to ground and center, and myself to ground and center, because when I'm not grounded, I'm not as good of a healer. Or, and I think that there's that reciprocal process too, that they begin to identify when they're not grounded, and then can tap in and be present to Mother Earth.
Would you like to add anything to that,
And
Sherry?
so I think what's interesting here is that we were born into the earth, and yet we lose our consciousness about it. And we lose, Tanya's figured out her direct way to use with students, and it creates a consciousness of where we are and our life here and what it can do. And so part of what we plan to teach is developing that consciousness of the energies that we live in and how to use them or how to be part of them to become more effective as people and for self-care as well as our work with others.
I think that one of the blessings of COVID, if you can think of it that way, is that I spent more time outside because I was in place and I had to go somewhere. I had to go somewhere with all that energy I had, and I couldn't really go to work in the same way. So every day I made sure I went outside 2 or 3 times. Well, I still make sure of that, though it's colder. And the relationship I began to develop with nature and the earth is so much stronger now, because now it's like I can hear the earth going, "When are you coming outside? Come on, let's go." Because when we listen to the dialogue, we hear it. And when we hear it, we listen more, if that makes sense. I think the grounding and centering, like you said, Molly, opens the communication. And dialogue for healing, I think, because the communication gives us such important healing, right? Like I can go outside and I can clearly hear you didn't drink enough water today. Like as soon as my body goes outside, my body goes, have you checked in with me today? So there's like this dialogue with Mother Earth, dialogue with our system, body, all of it.
The question is, you've got 30 seconds. Tell us what's the most exciting thing about your presentation that you want us to know.
30 seconds. Holy moly. I think that this is the ultimate in self-care that we are doing. It combines compassion for self and compassion for others and compassion and healing with the earth on top of it. And it's something I truly, truly love to do for myself and with others. And doing it with others exponentiates the results. And so it's lovely.
Thanks, Cherry. And how about you, Tanya?
I think the more centered and grounded we are within ourselves, with compassion, with the earth, and with an intention for healing and being open to the healing, it has exponential possibilities for healing. It is such a beautiful opportunity when we center and ground into the healing that is there for us to center and ground into. And I just hope that people are, reminded of the blessing and the benefit to center and ground into that compassion and peace that is always there for us with Mother Earth.
And one last thing, I hope we can teach as much as we want to teach in that limited time frame. We're going to have to practice to squish everything together.
Well,
It'll just be potent. It'll be potent potentiating.
it will be.
Yes, it'll have to be, Tanya.
And thank you again for your time today.
And thank you, Molly, because honestly, you made the process very easy. And it was lovely because of that. So thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. It's so nice to meet you both.